All right, January 2024 is over, the first month of 2024. Let's talk about how my reading went in this first month. What did I start my year with? How's it going so far into the year? Let's talk about it. I do look forward to sharing that with you, but also I've got an announcement coming up, so stay tuned. That's coming up here on Drew's Book Reviews. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how my January went. What did I read in January? What am I reading flowing into February? How is my reading going to start off 2024? But also an announcement. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, as always. Let's talk about it. So first, let's talk about an announcement here. So what is happening here is starting today, February 1st, we now have a joint Discord server. It is the Dragon's Den. This is a collaboration between myself, Bookish Chash, Heartwild, and Bookara, and we are so excited to announce this joint Discord, the Dragon's Den. In this Discord, you're going to see general channels to chat about all kinds of stuff, of course, and you're going to see each one of us have our own separate unique channels as well, and subheadings for our own unique channel content and any unique channels of discussion that we might want to have specifically for our own BookTube channel. So make sure that you join us over there. So my BookTube server, my server here on Discord, Drew's Book Reviews, will be slowly decommissioned as I slowly remove channels and get it updated. I'll be sure to post the invite link on my Discord as well to make sure that you can get it there. That'll be listed in the community tab. I'm going to put a post up about that as well. And I'm also going to, of course, have that link down below, an invite link in the description down below as well. So make sure you check that out. So this is really awesome. And thank you, Bookish Chaz, for leading the initiative on this. I'm so happy and grateful that you invited me to be part of this joint Discord server that is now officially going to be known as the Dragon's Den. So come and join the Dragon's Den. Come hang out in the Dragon's Den to talk all things bookish. Alright, so now we're going to get into what did I read in the month of January. Now this is in no particular order necessarily, but just the books that I completed and read in the month of January. First up on my list of January reads, and I actually got through a lot more books this month than I thought I would, but it's been a great start to the year and I'm so happy about that. First one up is going to be First Lord's Fury. So this is going to be the 6th book of the Codex Alera. This is actually the final conclusion to the Codex Alera. I really enjoyed this series, not as much as I enjoyed the Dresden Files, but still it was a good and entertaining series overall. I really liked the elemental magic within this series as a whole, and the idea of using that elemental magic to control the forces of nature essentially through the magical system built within this through what's called Furies. So they're like elemental creatures of magic and power that you learn to link with and control in order to do the magic that you do. There are actually several different species in this. We got the Canum, which are like these dog-like creatures. We got the Vord, which are like these insectile-like creatures that are threatening the whole world as we know it. And it kind of forces two enemies. There's also the Marat, and it's taken these traditional enemies, the Canum, the Marat, the people of Alera, and it's taken the traditional enemies, forcing them to work together for a common good in order to overcome this threat to the entire world. And it was just such a fun and entertaining read all around. I really enjoyed that, and it was just good. I highly recommend this series. If you enjoy elemental magic, if you enjoy that kind of coming of age as well, as a little bit of that in there as well. If you like that, this is definitely a book for you. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the series as a whole, so definitely be sure to check that out. The next one up on my list of what I read is I started reading the Classic Tales of Science Fiction of Fantasy. So it's the Canterbury Classics edition, and these are really nice editions, by the way, with the gold leafing on the pages. Some nice artwork inside. So these are Classic Tales of Science Fiction and Fantasy. So I started reading from this book. This book contains several books contained within it. So this book contains 10 different classic tales of science fiction and fantasy from classic writers such as H.P. Lovecraft, Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, some of the classics of historical science fiction from the early days of the genre. So the first story that I read in this month was The Diamond Lens by James Fitz O'Brien. So this is a really interesting one. With this guy that is literally obsessed with this microscope and he needs to make it bigger and better, and he starts using these diamonds to make it bigger and better, and what he discovers in this microscopic world, these tiny little creatures, and he ends up falling in love with one of them. Now, whether this is a delusion of his obsession, or whether it's real and legit, we don't know. You don't necessarily know, but it's a guy that is literally going insane and crazy, falling in love with this microscopic world. And it's a bit of a mind-bending, twisted tale, but hey, it's hilarious, and that's... But you know what? It's still a fun and entertaining read, and a very interesting, twisted tale. So if you kind of like that twisted, weird sci-fi, The Diamond Lens is definitely one that you should check out. I certainly enjoyed it. Next up is a YA book that I had in a series that it's been a while since I've read anything in this series, but it's one I'm thoroughly enjoying. And you know what? YA could be absolutely entertaining and hilarious. And that is From the Trials of Apollo, The Tower of Nero. So, Apollo, of course, has been condemned to being an adolescent, mortal youth is kind of like this punishment throughout this series. And these books by Rick Riordan are absolutely hilarious. They're fun, they're quick, they're fast-paced, they're full of action, and just hilarious. You should check this out, seriously. If you haven't checked out The Trials of Apollo, if you like YA fantasy with ancient gods, like anything Rick Riordan is right up that alley. And these books are hilarious. It's really kind of got a funny twist to so many ways that they put things. Like at one point they're talking about checking both ways before crossing the street as they're marching on their way to their inevitable death sentence to be killed by their enemy, right? I mean, think about it, it's just fun. They're worried about getting hit by a car and dying on the way crossing the street while they're on their way to turn themselves into somebody who's in all likelihood going to kill them. Yet they're worried about dying by a car. Like just little things like that, which I think are actually pretty hilarious and funny in the way that they do that. And I really enjoyed Rick Riordan's writing in general, and these books in general have been pretty funny. I don't think I've quite read everything by Rick Riordan yet, so there's probably some I haven't gotten to yet, but eventually I might one day, we'll see. I've got a lot on my TBR as it is, so we'll see how it goes. The next book up are my final January reads, so the ones that I actually completed in the month of January, is going to be Unseen Academials by Terry Pratchett. Now this was a fun one, as the Unseen University has to field a soccer team, or a football team as they call it, in this world of Discworld, because of course it's football everywhere, but here it's soccer. Anyway, this is a really interesting story in that it's not really about the game of soccer, but it really is about a game, it really is more about finding value and worth in yourself and overcoming the stereotypes that have been imposed upon us from our overall society as a whole. There's one character by the name Mr. Nut. He is an orc, and he finds himself being told that he is of no worth as how he was raised, and he always has to find worth. People fear him. He wants to find worth. Everything he's doing, he's asking, am I of worth now? Do I have worth now? Am I worth something? Have I created worth for myself? And overcoming that, while his friends that he makes along the way are like, what are you talking about? You have value. It's like, yes, but have I made worth? So I do have worth now. Are you telling me I've made my worth? Which kind of implies that he's been burdened with the mindset that he is in fact worthless until he proves himself otherwise. And so that whole character arc, that whole journey of discovery on that is really what this story is all about. And I absolutely love that aspect of it. And I thought that was great writing overall. Terry Pratchett has been an incredible writer. I love his stuff. I'm still thinking about doing a full review on this. I might actually do that. Hopefully I could get around to it. But we'll see. This was a good read, and I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend. I mean, when it comes to Discworld, I recommend anything, right? Like anything Discworld at this point is just awesome. So I really like this one. It was a good read for sure. The last book on this list is from Terry Goodkind. Now, I know I had that breakup video from Sword of Truth, but I gave Sword of Truth some notice in essence, and that I'm going to finish up all the Audible books that I have of this series, because I didn't want to just use the credits on these books and then never listen to them. I bought them. I'm going to listen to them on Audible, and I'm pretty much done all the Kaylin and Kara stuff anyways, or Kaylin and Richard stuff anyway, with the Sword of Truth, but after that, it's done. It's gone. Anyway, I finished Severed Souls by Terry Goodkind. Like the other ones, it's just kind of meh. But, you know, I'm a completionist. It'll drive me crazy never finishing what I started, so I'm just going to finish up here. It's just Warheart is the last one that is in the Kaylin and Richard and Kaylin stuff. Anyway, I don't need to go on about this series. I already got a video about it. You could go watch my breakup video if you want. But at the end of the day, once I'm done everything in this world on the reread, it's done. Anyway, moving on. So moving on, we're going to talk what... So with that, all the books that I completed so far in January as far as my read goes. So as far as my reading goal this year, I'd put a goal here on my hardcover that I wanted to read 50 new books. And I specify new books specifically because that's what I wanted to focus on. I'm definitely going to be still doing rereads, but I want to focus on make sure I read 50 new books. So that's what I'm doing here on hardcover, is tracking that based on new books only, and only entering the books that I've read in as new books on hardcover, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But as far as this month's reading wrap goes, so far I have completed 5 of my goal of 50, so that actually puts me 1 book ahead of schedule, which is really awesome for that. But also I did start using Storygraph as well, and it's on Storygraph that I'm going to be actually tracking all of my stats for the year for everything that I've read all together. But in terms of my goals for 2024 in new books, hardcover is where I've got my new books listed. So far, 5 of 50, I'm on track to hit that goal for new books. Yay me! Alright, now let's talk a little bit about what am I still reading going into February, and I might finish some of these in February, I might not. Let's see where we go from there. So for the month of February, where I'm currently reading is I've started the 3rd and final book. This is actually the viewer's choice review from my previous Next 5 Reads video, and that's going to be Robin Hobb's Ship of Destiny. This is the 3rd book in the Live Ship Trader series. This is a series I am absolutely loving, and I'm glad to say the dragons have finally made their appearance. So I'm really enjoying the Live Ship Trader. I'm going to be doing a review on this book, as it is the viewer's choice pick for which of my next 5 reads you want me to review, so stay tuned for that. Live Ships has been just so good. Robin Hobb has just been so good. I'm so glad I heard about Robin Hobb book 2, because I'm absolutely loving this. Absolutely loving Robin Hobb. Really good. Live ships, dragons, mythos, it's just fun. Fun adventures, pirates, you name it. Anyway, wait till my review and I'll talk more about it for sure. One of the other books that I'm currently reading, this is the final book in the Richard and Kaylin, as I'd mentioned earlier, Richard and Kaylin stuff from Sword of Truth. So I'm just finishing that up before I set it aside. There is the Nikki Chronicles, which I think I got on Audible as well. They're not really focused on Richard and Kaylin, but I'll probably just go through that as well, so that then I'll be completely done. But anyway, Terry Goodkind's Warheart. This is the final one in the Sword of Truth. It says here Sword of Truth conclusion. Series like, it's okay, it's alright. I'll move on eventually. Got to give the series some notice. I mean, it's been a long relationship, right? Anyway, Terry Goodkind. I'm still working on Warheart on Audible, so we'll see where that goes. I am reading along in the book as I listen, of course, but I'm counting it as listening, kind of, sort of. Anyway, that's how I do my rereads through Audible, because it's funner that way. Anyway, I find I'm really enjoying Audible. Not like before. It was like, Audible, that's not reading. I used to think that, honestly. I used to think that until I started using Audible, and I was like, oh, love it. Anyway, Terry Goodkind's Warheart is one of the ones that I'm working on this month. One of the other books that I started right now, this is really fun, because this started to re-listen to this series in anticipation of the next book release. This is a big deal, guys, like huge deal. And this is one of my all-time favorite book series of all time. In fact, if you watched my fan casting video, it's the only book series or book that I've ever done a fan casting on, ever. I don't know if I'm going to do a fan casting on others, but I did it on this one. And that is going to be, I started listening on Audible to The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, Stormlight Archive, Book 1. Book 5 is being released in December. I've already pre-ordered it, and I'm going and I'm listening to Way of Kings and all the Stormlight Archive on Audible in preparation for that launch this December. Now I'm figuring, based on when I usually listen to Audible on my breaks at one of my jobs, because I got the second job on the side. It's usually at that time that I'm listening to The Way of Kings and Stormlight Archive, and I'm going to keep doing that. Or when I'm just, driving down the road, going wherever, whatever. That's when I listen to Audible for The Way of Kings, as well as the other ones. And I'm so excited to re-listen to this whole series in preparation for Book 5 coming out. I'm probably going to be doing some kind of read-along, I anticipate, of the book 5 of the Stormlight Archive, Winds and Truth, once that comes out. Stay tuned in the Dragon's Den Discord in case I do decide to do that for the channel. We shall see. Anyway, I started listening. I love this series. I love it so much. You have no idea. I'm obsessed with the Stormlight Archive. I love it. I can't wait for book 5. It's going to be so awesome. I cannot wait to get it. I'm so happy I'm re-listening to this. Absolutely love it. Anyway, there you have it. There's my reading in January. There's how everything's gone for me. So let me know down below. How has your month gone? How's your January been? I'd love to hear from you. There's so much that we could talk about on that. So many things that we could discuss on the Discord. I'd love to hear from you. Comment down below. Join us on the new Dragon's Den Discord as well. That'll be linked below. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, until next time, keep on reading. Bye.